Hello, I'm back. You know what time it is? It's Magic Treehouse time. That's what time it is. Please remember that we are working in Magic Treehouse number 24, Earthquake in the Early Morning. And when we left off last, we were in chapter 5, Stop! And chapter 6, Something to Lend. So in chapter 5, Stop! Jack and Annie go wandering through the streets of San Francisco looking for someone to help or some kind of way to leave. And they stumble upon a gentleman who is running out of a building with all of these books. And so they ask him, what is he doing? And he says he is trying to save some very special pieces of writing that he has in his library. And so Jack and Annie help him load things onto a cart so that he can drive them away. But once he drives away, they read in Jack's research book that, oh no, all those books that he's taking, trying to get them away from the fire, are actually going toward the fire. The building that the books are in now is not going to burn, and they try to stop him, and he's basically like, go away, little kids. Go find your parents. Go find your parents. Leave me alone. And so they watch him drive away with all of those books that they know are going to burn. There's nothing they can do about it. So they continue to walk. And in chapter 6, Something to Lend, they meet two little boys and their aunt sitting out on the road, Andrew and Peter and Aunt Mary. And they're crying and upset, and they have no shoes on because, of course, they've lost pretty much all of their things in this earthquake. And so Jack and Annie feel very sad for them. And so they give the boys their boots. Their feet are cut and bleeding, which is such a sweet thing to do. They're such nice children. And Andrew and Peter give Jack and Annie a little sign with a poem on it that says, there is no water and still less hope. We have no city, but lots of hope. And guess what this turns out to be? There's something to lend. And so now they are on their way back home until they look in the direction that they came from, and there's smoke. Where there's smoke, there's fire. So we are starting today on chapter 7, Dynamite. We better be careful. Jack and Annie stepped in their sock feet over the broken cobblestones, trying not to cut themselves. They headed down the hillside. On their way, they passed policemen carrying stretchers with injured people on them. They passed soldiers directing all those trying to escape the fires. One man was trying to push a piano down the street. Another man was wearing a bunch of hats all piled on top of one another. A woman carried her 3 little dogs in a bag. Everyone's trying to save what's important to them, like the librarian. And us, we're trying to save the sign. Jack clutched a piece of wood. When they were halfway down the hill, a soldier on a horse galloped in front of them. Get off the street! We're setting off dynamite! He shouted. Dynamite? Said Jack. Yikes, said Annie. People started running in all directions. Jack and Annie looked around wildly for a safe place to go. Jack saw an alley. There, he said. They ran into the alley and crouched on the ground. Jack reached into his bag for their research book. He looked in the index for the word dynamite. He found it. Then he turned to the right page number and read. After the fire started, the mayor had an idea. He thought that if some buildings were destroyed, the sparks would not fly from one wooden roof to the next. He ordered some buildings to be blown up by dynamite. His plan did not work. Rule number 3, make smart choices. The firestorm raged from building to building, from street to street. Firestorm? Thought Jack. The word sounded terrible. Just as he put the book away, a huge blast of dynamite shook the ground. Dust and dirt flew everywhere, even down the alley. Jack clutched their sign with one hand. He covered his eyes with the other. Annie did the same. Another huge blast rocked the ground. Jack tasted grit in his mouth. He looked at Annie. She was caked with dust from head to toe. He looked down at himself. He was just as dirty as she was. Hey, would you look at those two? Someone said. Now that's a story. Jack looked up. Betty, the newspaper reporter, and Fred, the photographer, were standing in front of them. Even though they were also covered with dirt, Fred was setting up his camera, and Betty was taking notes in her notebook. "Hold up your sign, Sonny," said Betty. Too stunned to say anything, Jack held up the sign with a poem about hope. Fred took a picture. Another dynamite blast shook the ground. "Come with us. We're headed for the park," said Betty. "We can't. We're on our way home to our parents." "We'll get going, and be careful," said Betty. "Let's beat it, Fred." The photographer grabbed his camera equipment and the two of them rushed off. "I don't think Betty and Fred recognized us." "I don't recognize us." Another blast shook the ground. "Come on, let's beat it." Jack and Annie jumped up. Jack put their sign in his bag, and they started back down the hill. Chapter 8. Good luck, San Francisco. Jack and Annie ran over the cobblestones. Dynamite blasts echoed behind them. They headed back down the hill. Flames shot across the roofs, traveling from one house to another. "We're heading right into the firestorm," Jack shouted over the noise. "We have to keep going," Annie shouted back, "before the treehouse catches fire." At the bottom of the hill, thick smoke was rolling through the street. It made Jack's eyes burn. "Where's the treehouse?" he shouted. "Here." Jack followed Annie's voice. She was holding onto the rope ladder. "It's still here," Jack said with relief. "Of course. The treehouse wouldn't leave without us. Don't you—" "Go, go," said Jack. Annie started up the rope ladder. Jack followed. They climbed into the treehouse and looked out the window. All around, buildings were going up in flames. Black smoke seemed to be smothering the city. Jack could scarcely breathe. His throat burned. His eyes were stinging. Annie grabbed their Pennsylvania book. She opened it to the picture of Frog Creek and pointed. "I wish we could go there. Good luck, San Francisco." "Goodbye, San Francisco," said Jack. The wind started to blow. The treehouse started to spin. It spun faster and faster. Then everything was still, absolutely still.